Hello there. Do you remember the doom and gloom predictions about a drop in gross domestic product should we dare to vote to leave the European Union? Well, take a look at what's actually happening. There were stories going about before the EU referendum that a vote to leave the EU would start a slide in the UK gross domestic product, or GDP, which would decrease by £4,300 per household by 2030. Now, GDP is the total value of goods produced and services provided in a country during 1 year. So how is that UK GDP collapse going at the moment? The latest preliminary quarterly GDP figures from the Office for National Statistics were issued this morning for Q3 2017. That's the total for the months of July, August and September. And what they show are that UK GDP was estimated to have increased by 0.4% in the third quarter of 2017, a similar rate of growth to the previous 2 quarters. Services increased by 0.4%, the same rate as the second quarter of 2017, and remains the largest contributor to GDP growth, with a strong performance in computer programming, motor trades and retail trade. Manufacturing returned to growth after a weak second quarter, increasing by 1% in the third quarter of 2017. Construction has contracted for the second quarter in a row, although, says the ONS, the industry still remains well above its pre-downturn peak. GDP per head was estimated to have increased by 0.3% during the third quarter of 2017. Now let's look at this in a longer-term context. Here is a graph I put together using the ONS data. The blue line shows the UK's quarterly GDP figure in billions of pounds for the last 10 years from Q3 2007 to Q3 2017, the axis for which is on the left. The red bars show the quarterly increase or decrease in GDP in percentage terms, with the axis being on the right. You can clearly see the repercussions from the credit crunch and the subsequent, consistent, post-crisis recovery. But the vote to leave the EU seems to have had no impact at all. Of course, the Remainers will either say that it would be higher if we'd voted to stay, which is of course unprovable, or that GDP will drop after we actually leave the EU, and we haven't left yet. But these are the same people who claim that there's a slide in the value of the pound and it's all down to the actual vote to leave, even though we are still in the EU. But if you look at the foreign exchange charts, you'll see that overall the pound is at about the same place as it was a year ago against the euro, and is up quite significantly against the dollar. In another bit of news, the former mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg, has called Brexit the stupidest thing any country has ever done, apart from voting for Donald Trump. But Mr. Bloomberg is the 6th richest member by net worth of the Forbes 400, is the 10th richest person in the world, and is the founder, owner and CEO of the massive financial services firm Bloomberg LP. And there are 2 reasons for mentioning this. The first is that Bloomberg has just opened a £1 billion headquarters in London. And secondly, many Remainers claim that the Leave vote was all about handing the UK over to US big businesses. But this statement from a big US businessman sort of puts a fly in that ointment, doesn't it? But what are your thoughts on the latest GDP figures and Bloomberg? Please leave a comment below. Thank you. Please do like and share this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And when subscribing, please do remember to press on the little bell next to the subscribe button. That way you'll get an alert every single time I put up a new video. Thank you very much for watching.